Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are watching or listening. Last week, we talked about how you can create a concept that cannot be easily replicated by the hotel next door. So, how can you create a wellness concept that is truly special, truly unique? And we saw that it wasn't about focusing on what elements, but focusing on how, on your superpowers, and also keeping it simple instead of complicating things. And today we go one step further. So once we have created a truly special concept that is not easy to replicate, we now need to find the right people who are able and willing to do wellness the way we want them to do it. And I have found that in my own personal experience with my clients and also the wellness leaders, what I have noticed, the number one challenge they have in order to make the concept a reality is finding the right people to execute it and make it a reality. As wellness leaders, we are passionate about doing wellness properly. And we will go the extra mile to train the right people. But finding staff who can truly embrace and deliver wellness the way we want them to can be tough. It's also challenging to justify hiring for roles that don't directly bring in revenue. For example, attendance, yoga teachers, meditation sessions. It's already hard to find a spa receptionist and a spa therapist. Imagine how hard it is to get the buy-in to bring in more attendance and more yoga teachers to enhance the overall guest experience. And the reason we find it so difficult to find the right staff is that there is a myth that spa and wellness is the most labor intensive department in a hotel. There's a common belief that more revenue means you have to do more treatments, which means you need more staff, especially therapists who are traditionally the people who drive the direct revenue in wellness related facilities and hotels. So, as a wellness leader, you find yourself stuck in this catch 22 situation. No, you want to create an amazing concept, but you don't know if you find the right staff to make it happen and if you'll ever be given the headcount to do it. So, the solution to getting around this problem is organizing and running your wellness business smartly. So the idea is, how can you increase revenue exponentially without increasing your cost base at the same rate? And stage 4 of my Essence framework, execution, also known as the Lean and Ideal Team framework, helps you build a team that works together smoothly to deliver remarkable wellness experiences. And in this way, you avoid hiring highly skilled and expensive staff that your profit and loss can't necessarily sustain or support. So the question is, how do you organize your wellness business so that it runs smoothly and efficiently and that you can increase your revenue without having to increase your cost base? This is how you do it. The first step is to establish your guardrails. Know exactly how many professionals your budget can realistically support. So when you go to your director of finance or your general manager, know the headcount you have. Now, I am a finance ninja. I have always been able to find the staff I need. And the reason I've been able to do that is because I've looked at my head count, looked at the number of clients the spa serves and the entire wellness area, and I've compared it to the fixed head count in all other departments. And I can assure you, we think in the wellness area we are shortchanged, and that is not always the case. I find that in the whole hotel, people would, if they were given the opportunity, each manager would say, please give me more staff, because it's a lot easier to ask for more staff than to actually stop and think about how you can organize your business in a more smart way, given the headcount you do. So the number one thing we do, we don't go begging for more headcount. We instead establish our own guardrails. What is my sandbox? What is my headcount? What have I been granted? And then what is my budget? From there, you do 3 steps. You craft your wellness organization chart. You create a clear and functional team structure that aligns with your budget, so you know what positions you can realistically sustain. The next step is define roles clearly. Make sure everyone knows their responsibilities and expectations, and ensures smooth operations. Now, in my book, The Wellness Asset, I delve into this in more detail. There's a difference between a position in an organization chart. So that could be a receptionist, therapist, assistant spa manager, wellness director. And there's a difference between roles. The roles are the individual functions that need to be carried out in order to do wellness successfully. One position can have multiple roles. Now, you need to clarify what are the positions you have, and then define what are the roles you need in order to do wellness successfully. Now, I urge you to think out of the box and not think of the traditional spa receptionist, therapist, attendant, manager. Think out of the box when you're actually looking at your roles and your positions. And then what you do is create a well work environment. You build a workplace that supports your team's well-being so they can thrive and work harmoniously. Now, that goes beyond saying my therapist can't do more than 5 deep tissue massages. My team cannot work more than 10 days in a row. My team will not come on their day off. That is a given. That's not vouching for their well-being. That's making sure you are actually, as a manager, and you're safeguarding, ensuring their rights. But when you're talking about well-being of your team, you're sitting down with them and you're telling them, here's the deal. This is my structure. And these are the roles that need to be done. How can we do this? We are living such beautiful times right now where people do not stay in this silo function. You will find a receptionist who wants to learn something about therapies, or a therapist who wants to learn something about management, or who wants to learn something about food and beverage. Gone are the days when people only do one thing. They want to expand their skill set. So sit down with your team. Speak to them, find out what is it that they want, what makes them tick. And then from there, you'll be able to fight for their well-being. So I'm seeing the smoke coming through here. I have an incense stick running here that kind of calms me when I'm recording. So I don't know if the smoke is actually coming through in the screen, but that is my kind of Zen wellness way of doing things. So sorry, I got slightly sidetracked. When I was talking about the well-being of your team, well-being is also helping them achieve their goals. What makes them happy? What makes them feel satisfied? It's not only about making sure that they do not do more than 5 back-to-back treatment massages, deep tissue massages. It goes way beyond that. Now, it's a given we're not going to slave drive our teams. So once you have done, you've established your guardrails, you've crafted the organizational chart, you've defined the roles clearly to do wellness successfully, and you've created that well work environment. This is what actually happens when you do that. When you actually establish your guardrails, craft your organizational chart, define your roles clearly, and you create that environment where you're truly understanding the needs of your team, the end result is that firstly, you streamline your headcount and organize your business efficiently and cost effectively. You don't have to beg your director of finance for more funds or more headcount. Secondly, you find and hire and keep the right people to deliver wellness in your hotel without going over budget. When you sit and speak with your team members, when you know what the aspirations are, when you know what their goals are, you are far more able to organize your wellness facility in a very streamlined way. And you're also finding the right people whose values align with yours. And then lastly, as a result, you avoid having your business being affected by mood swings or lack of motivation of people. And what happens to you as a leader is that you make your life easier. You free yourself from constant firefighting, putting out fires all the time. And instead, you focus on managing the wellness areas strategically rather than reactively. And when we continue to do wellness the way we have always done it, here's what happens to you. You continue to organize your business around personalities instead of clear roles and responsibilities. You adapt job functions based on individual skills and not what the business needs. You get along with a therapist. You see someone is going the extra mile. Hence, you give them more responsibility because they can do it. And sometimes you don't even have the time to train them. And then eventually this person leaves burnt out. And lastly, your operations become chaotic and inefficient. And like I did last week, I want to talk about the case of the wellness director and hotel traditionist. So she, the wellness director at Hotel Traditionist, suffered this snowball effect of problems. So there was no clear budget, a constantly changing wellness offering, an inexperienced team trying to create protocols without any guidance. And the biggest challenge for her was finding, hiring, and training the right people while keeping costs down. And without a clear budget, the team didn't realize when they were overspending. The pressure, they were in a new opening, it was in pre-opening phase, and the pressure to open on time meant that only skeleton staff were hired without planning for things like sick leave or holidays. And it being a family-run hotel, they hired based on perceived needs and skills, sometimes even overpaying talent they wanted, but they didn't really need. So what happened was that staff was hired last minute, often lacking the right profile to deliver the wellness concept. They started to work immediately without training or the tools, without any guidance. And because training was cut short, the idea was to straight away, all hands on deck, get things open, and there was no guidance. And the outcome was, yes, the spa opened on time. Yes, the hotel opened on time. But within the first 3 weeks of opening, the entire spa team had left. And she was, the wellness director, was left to find, hire, and train more staff. And when your entire team leaves within 3 weeks, it becomes impossible to manage the stress of what it is to have a recently opened facility with trying to find, train, and find, hire, and train new people. So when we're trying to find the right people for our wellness concept, just like when we were designing our wellness concept, the secret is to keep things simple. Go back to your budget. Know your headcount. What is it that your wellness business can realistically sustain? From there, craft the structure, define the roles needed, and then sit with your team. What are their goals? Because here are the roles we need, and these are the positions we have. And these roles need to be covered. And then you'll see you have created the business that is streamlined. You'd have created a team that wants to work with you. They want to grow. They want to be part of something bigger. We all want to be part of something bigger. We want to learn. And clearly, we want to be treated right. That is a given. So when we're trying to find the right people, we're hiring them and we're training them. Sometimes something as simple as establishing your guardrails, being crystal clear about what you can realistically sustain, and even more transparent about the roles needed to deliver remarkable experiences. And you know the goals. What does your team want? What does each one of them want? Then you're more able to allocate the right roles to them. And that way, you don't burn out your team last minute and you don't have this revolving door of staff coming and leaving your hotel. And on that inspiring note, I wish you all a beautiful day ahead. Take care now.